奢望有微妙的希望，爱过不少。我的心遗落在那年的盼望。曾有过的绚烂美丽，破碎成残缺，回不去的回忆铺满空荡荡的街，银河般无垠的思念淹没了世界，失魂落魄的我怎么与自己和解？是我忘了如何遗忘，忘不了炽热的眼光，宁愿忘了如何遗忘，只被你紧紧地捆绑。如果爱回来是什么？奢望有微妙的希望，永远盼望。无底洞的黑暗能照进阳光。我一直等待，我苦苦等待，尽管爱已化成流光，除了你，谁能唤醒沉睡的时光？是我忘了如何遗忘，越遗忘越欲盖弥彰。是我忘了如何遗忘，只活在肆意的荒唐。如果爱回来是什么？奢望有微妙的希望，爱过不少。我的心遗落在那年的盼望。说爱我没有如果，错过就过，你是不是会难过？若如果拿来当借口，那是不是有一点肉？如果我说爱我没有如果，真的爱我就放手一搏，还剩什么害怕什么？快牵起我的手。有人说世界上最遥远的距离不是生与死，而是我就站在你面前，你却不知道我爱你。我常说，如果人类连爱一个人都 什么？快牵起我的手。
如果最后变成如果，我也不能接受。错过不是错过，我比你更难过，我不会一错再错。
这次不要再随便错过。我常说，如果人类连爱一个人都被自己绑住，当世界末日一来到，就是要等到地球毁灭掉的那天。别怕太快乐，别怕太快乐，别怕失去我。
两个人都要负责任，有些成长来自承认，我终于挣脱怨与恨。年轻总习惯去争论，要别人照我的剧本，满身伤痕，才知道被爱是互不信任。不在乎的眼神，内心悄悄破损，在午夜的时分，被一个梦给拆穿，没忘记那个人。我试着让生活变得清淡，对幸福或寂寞顺其自然，偶尔下下孤单，偶尔下下浪漫，不怕大喜大悲那么难负担，不想再背负太多期盼，对好奇或关心顺其自然，只是那点不安，只是那点心酸，总会忽然 些成长来自承认，我终于挣脱怨与恨。年轻中习惯去争论，要别人照我的剧本，满身伤痕，才知道被爱是互不信任。每一次记忆的翻腾，既美好也残忍，思念让旧情有余温，将我困在早应该要离开的空城。
Tax inversion. Corporate tax inversion is a strategy to reduce taxes companies pay on their income by reincorporating in a nation with lower tax rates. 1982. McDermott International Incorporated makes its subsidiary in Panama the parent company. 1999. More U.S.-based multinationals technically relocate their headquarters. 2004. The U.S. Anti-Inversion Bill stipulates that if an enterprise inverted primarily for tax considerations, it is subject to adverse tax consequences. 2006. Another wave of inversions begins as companies exploit safe harbor exceptions in the legislation. 2014. The U.S. Treasury releases a notice stating that a multinational with business activities below 25% in the new foreign parent's home country may face adverse tax consequences. This applies in cases where continuing ownership by former U.S. shareholders is above 60%. If it is 80% or greater, the company will be treated as a U.S. corporation for tax purposes, effectively negating the inversion. 2015. New guidelines seek to close the loophole of U.S. corporations using foreign mergers to elude tax payments, but legislation is needed to enforce the policy. Subsidiary. Stipulate. Adverse. Exploit. Negate. Loophole. Elude. 1. The U.S. corporate income tax rate of 35% is the highest in the developed world. 2. The U.S. makes its companies pay the same rate on all their worldwide income, even if the profit is generated by a subsidiary in a foreign country with lower taxes. U.S., Mexico, Switzerland, Netherlands, Australia, Luxembourg, UK, Canada, Ireland, Bermuda, Grand Cayman. Tax inversion can also be achieved through an overseas acquisition, known as an acquisition inversion. In addition to dodging U.S. tax payments on foreign earnings, tax inversion also creates the benefit of profit shifting. Tax savings refers to any legal method used to reduce the amount of taxes paid. Tax evasion is pursuing an illegal means to avoid one's tax liability. Tax inversion is one specific way to reduce tax liability. The intention and approach must be examined to judge whether it is a form of tax evasion. Acquisition, dodge, pursue, means, liability, intention.
Now you're listening to Live Interactive English. Pay attention, everybody.
Hi everyone, welcome to Live Interactive English. This is Karen. And
I'm Shane. I was hiding my identity.
that's right. Okay, now we're going to look at day 2 of Troll Hunter, unmasking internet bullies. And the vocabulary words are entertaining.
Entertaining.
Brett finds feeding pigeons entertaining.
Criticism.
Criticism.
Elsa isn't good at listening to criticism.
Isolation.
Isolation.
He couldn't stand the isolation of living alone on the island.
Interpret.
Interpret.
She interpreted the tone of my voice as a sign of anger.
Violation.
Violation.
This car is in clear violation of traffic rules. So we're still talking about this TV show, The Troll Hunter, right?
Yes.
And last time we talked about how the troll means they are the internet bullies. They leave, mean comments, maybe racism or
Say hateful things.
Exactly.
Death threats. Yeah.
And then the host of the show, he actually goes and confronts these people, right? That's why he's called the Troll Hunter.
Right. So some of the critics say that maybe that it doesn't really address the problem of why are these people being trolls in the first place. Like maybe
Why
what's
do
the,
they do it?
What are the psychological reasons for people to do that? What do you think? Why do you think people feel it's okay to write very negative things online?
Well, I think for one reason, if you do it on the internet, you can, use a fake name.
Right.
And then you can just be anonymous. Nobody knows who you are, so you don't have to be responsible for any comments that you leave. And some people might just do it for fun. They might think, oh, it's just a joke, and then I'll just, say some mean things, make someone feel bad. I don't have to be responsible for it.
Yeah, I really don't get it. Have you ever been trolled by anybody online before?
Not really.
I
No one
have.
has really left any mean comments. Really?
I have, and it really does hurt your feelings. It's just never feels good to hear something negative said. So you think that, oh, it's just on the internet, it's not going to really hurt somebody, but I
It
think
does.
it definitely can. So if you're going to be on the internet, I feel you need to treat it like real life. And if
Exactly.
it's something you wouldn't say to somebody, person to person, then
Then don't say it on the internet.
that's right.
You have to be responsible for everything that you say or all the comments that you leave, no matter if you're doing it on the internet or doing it face to face.
High five.
Be mature.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
right.
All right, everybody.
Okay, let's learn more about the show, Troll Hunter.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Troll Hunter, unmasking internet bullies.
Although Troll Hunter may be entertaining to watch, not everyone supports Ashberg's approach. One criticism is that the program fails to address the question of why trolls behave as they do. According to one politician, trolls are often people who feel excluded from society. In reaction to their feelings of isolation, they lash out at others. Therefore, any attempt to stop trolling should get to the root of the problem.
Welcome to Live Interactive English Magazine. Today's lesson is called Troll Hunter, Unmasking Internet Bullies. Day 2. Hello everyone.
On track, organized, proactive. One of my core strengths is One of my core strengths is innovative app development because I bring maximum creativity to all my projects.
That is definitely one of your admirable skills, but remember to temper innovation with utility.
I made an honest effort to focus throughout the day and have increased my customer response rate by 5%.
That's a great start. Do you think you can raise that number even further?
Not only do I, but I have also, not only do I stay extremely organized, but I have also cleaned up my team's procedural sequence for everyone's benefit.
Thank you. I've noticed your team is more cheerful even in our busiest periods.
I used to get but I've learned to. I used to get testy when interrupted, but I've learned to save my work and give others my full attention.
I'm glad you took that constructive criticism to heart and have grown more patient.
While I'm not free to, while I'm not free to stay later because of my kids, I occasionally come in early to meet deadlines.
I appreciate you making arrangements with your family to keep your team on track.
Temper,
Procedural. Sequence.
cheerful.
Testy.
Scene 1. The big picture.
Why don't you start with an outline of the year and then move on to the 3 target areas?
Sure. Overall, I made certain to keep my goals in sight and work steadily toward them. We had a few curveballs thrown our way, and I'll get into how I handled the especially tough ones.
Good. I'm glad you prepared to discuss that.
Thanks. So first, personal achievements. The biggest was implementing changes to the original platform based on critical customer feedback. I had to act fast and managed to galvanize the whole team into a quick rebound from our lowest point.
I'll get into the details of what to expect at an interview in the second half of this workshop. Implement. It's never too early in a relationship to implement good communication guidelines.
Galvanize.
Coach Linson was famous for galvanizing his players into action when it mattered most. Rebound. Most relationships that begin on a rebound from a broken heart don't last for too long. Make certain. Shayna always makes certain all the lights are off and electricity cords unplugged before leaving for vacation. Keep in sight. You need to always keep the bigger picture in sight when dealing with everyday problems. Scene 2. Running a tight ship.
The database had bugs that really shouldn't have been overlooked in the first place, but you recovered well.
I make a point of staying positive, focusing on the solution instead of dealing out blame.
This segues nicely into reviewing your leadership skills.
As you know, we were extremely short-staffed in the fall. I had to carve out bits of time to fix the database while fielding urgent help requests from other departments.
How did you manage it?
Well, I have a knack for diffusing tense situations. I got really hands-on with my department's workflow, arranging people in collaborations for maximum efficiency.
Field. In my job, I mostly field phone calls from customers who want advice on how to set up their entertainment systems. Knack. Susie has an incredible knack for knowing when the telephone is about to ring, even if it's someone else's. Diffuse. Watching kids play in the park always helps Tamara diffuse her low mood and fatigue. Hands-on. When it comes to learning to cook a new dish, I always prefer a hands-on approach. Segue. Short-staffed. Make a point of. John made a point of befriending the business owners in his new neighborhood as a way of settling in. Scene 3. Smoothing ruffled feathers.
I'd say you took on the role of a symphony conductor, which is a good way to establish necessary authority.
And I came to enjoy having regular check-ins with individuals to understand everyone's strengths and struggles. At first, it was uncomfortable getting in the midst of disputes between my team and their colleagues in other departments, but I realized that my function as a mediator actually prevented conflict from occurring.
You're good at maintaining a neutral demeanor.
Thanks. That was indispensable, especially when the lack of coordination with other departments really hit the fan. Now I require their schedules before they ask for our help.
Dispute. This family dispute over a piece of land by the sea has lasted several generations. Mediator. I will only talk to you about this if you find a mediator, because I'm not interested in another argument. Neutral. The newspaper has preserved a neutral stand on the issue, reporting both sides of the story. Indispensable. I find it indispensable to have a few favorite books with me wherever I go.
Authority. Check in.
Demeanor. In the midst of. Carla came home in the midst of a rainstorm to find a tree in the front yard had broken in half. Scene 4. Onward and upward.
You've made a significant effort this year, but as you know, there's always room for improvement. As I mentioned, you had to backpedal to stabilize the database, when lowering the defect rate as an initial priority would have avoided so many negative user comments.
I should have communicated that we were falling behind on the deadline and needed extra hands.
This is a must for next time. Now that the database is live, you may need to reshuffle your team, so there's always someone monitoring and even soliciting customer responses.
Good call.
Going forward, please be more proactive in resolving issues before they find you.
Backpedal. When a thoughtless comment unintentionally slipped out of his mouth, Aaron had to backpedal so as not to offend his date. Stabilize. Adapting a regular routine that included exercise helped to stabilize Amanda's blood sugar levels. Reshuffle. The Prime Minister reshuffled his cabinet after 6 months in office, asking one minister to resign. Monitor. At the sleep clinic, patients are hooked up to machines that monitor their vital signs and brainwaves. Solicit. It seems pretty easy to solicit volunteers from the audience for a stage hypnotism show. Resolve. We'll have plenty of time to resolve all these questions tomorrow morning before we set off. Trendy topics. Unicorn company. Market capitalization. Startup company. Valuation. Venture capital. Unicorn. Valuation over $1 billion. Decacorn. Valuation over $10 billion. Super unicorn. Valuation over $100 billion. As many Silicon Valley unicorns crumble, their lack of financial transparency is being widely questioned and criticized by investors. Super unicorn club members. Before 1950s, Hewlett-Packard, HP, Electronic equipment. 1960s, Intel, semiconductor chip. 1970s, Oracle, enterprise software. Apple and Microsoft, personal computer. 1980s, Cisco and AOL, telecommunications. 1990s, Google and Amazon, Internet. 2000, Facebook, social network. Bank 4.0, banking, debank, financial. Number 11, talking badly of employment situation. Focus on being positive rather than negative. Number 12, bringing up sensitive topics like religion or politics. The workplace is not an environment for preaching. Prior to. Janice used to often feel lonely prior to getting married and starting a family. Priority. The priority for today is to finalize the lease agreement for the Chester Street property. Brush off. Sean didn't want to be outright rude to the salesman and tried to brush him off politely. Dazzle. All the contestants were superb, but the audience was especially dazzled by the little poodle who could count. Assume. When you say the deadline is the 15th, I assume you mean next month, right? Genuine. Baz was grateful for the genuine welcome he felt ever since stepping foot on the island. Availability. Perk. Freebie. Potentially. Lowdown. Intimacy. Probation. Preach. Lose sight of. Throughout his long career, Jerome never lost sight of the importance of family life. In a position to. The promotion to HR director put Stefan in a position to help his contacts find work. Have the authority to. According to the contract, any of the parties have the authority to terminate it with due notice. Stick one's nose into. You're starting to get a reputation for sticking your nose into situations where it doesn't belong. Be a busybody. Poke and pry. Quit poking and prying. This is really none of your concern. Number 1. It's unwise to assume that everyone shares your opinion on the matter. Number 2. Igor felt genuine surprise when he opened the door to find Madonna standing there. Number 3. Reuben was upset that the department chair had brushed him off without fully listening to his request. Game of Drones, the soaring commercial UAV business. At the 2016 Consumer Electronics Show, nearly 30 exhibitors represented the unmanned aerial technology market, a 7-fold increase from 2014. This echoes predictions that the next 5 years will bring a 19% compound annual growth rate in this sector, with global sales of unmanned aircraft expected to reach $5 billion by 2021. Another report forecasts that more than 100,000 jobs and $82 billion will be created in the U.S. alone in the coming decade. Unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, are also called drones and come in 2 varieties. The fixed-wing flyers are faster and cover greater distances with longer flight times because once launched, the wings provide lift, so the motor is only needed for forward motion. Multi-rotor drones have shorter flying times because much of the battery is used by the propellers. However, they are easier to pilot and vastly more precise in motion, able to hover, fly at any speed, and in any direction. UAVs are already used in areas such as meteorology, telecommunications, and law enforcement, but drone fever has been spreading into many other industries that are seduced by the potential growth. Agriculture is expected to make up 80% of commercial drone use in the short term, partly since sparsely populated rural areas dramatically decrease issues of privacy and safety. Sensor-equipped drones could monitor plants for health, hydration, and growth rates, as well as aid precision farming, delivering fertilizers and pesticides to small, specific areas. Echo. The growing popularity of green lifestyle alternatives echoes observers who note that an important shift is taking place on Earth. Forecast. Economists forecast a further drop in the Consumer Price Index next quarter due to falling energy prices. Precise. Precision. Laser cutting has become popular across multiple industries for its efficient and precise results. Spread. The oil spill would have quickly spread across the coastal beaches if cleanup crews hadn't arrived almost immediately. Seduce. Too many supplements these days seduce consumers into believing they can fix major problems by swallowing a few pills. Sparsely. The long corridor was sparsely lit and generally reminded Eduardo of a horror movie setting. Vastly. Hover. Populate. Hydration. Fertilizer. Pesticide. A bird's eye view is the goal of industries like construction and real estate. Work sites can be documented at every stage of the process and monitored for safety. Drones also help inspect hard-to-reach facets of structures like bridges. Real estate agents can dramatically improve listings with photographs taken at different heights and angles. Movie makers are also clamoring for permission to use UAVs to scout filming sites and shoot from above. Disney, for one, wants to use drones in innovative shows with added aerial elements. Both Google and Amazon are exploring drones as home delivery options. While drones are unlikely to take over the entire logistics sector, they may take on short-distance deliveries of small items as early as 2017. Google's Project Titan and Facebook's Connectivity Lab are independently developing UAVs that would wirelessly beam internet to every person in the world, hopes Mark Zuckerberg. The major debate surrounding unmanned aircraft systems is regulations. As of December 2015, the U.S. Federal Aviation Association, FAA, requires that all recreational UAV owners register their aircraft. However, no training or license is required. Unsurprisingly, dozens of incidents in recent years involved drones that damaged power lines, harmed innocent bystanders, and nearly crashed into passenger planes. The FAA is also lifting the ban on commercial drones, but here the rules remain much tighter, at least for now. The bottom line is, drones are here and multiplying in numbers. Regulatory agencies will need to strike a fine balance to respect commercial interests and civilian rights. Inspect. All of the cargo coming off the ships in this port is carefully inspected by security teams with detector dogs. Clamor. The children all clamored to be the first to go down the amusement park's water slide. Scout. Andrea sent her twin boys up ahead to scout the area for a good picnic spot in the shade. Take on. You shouldn't take on any more responsibilities while you're struggling with your health. Beam. I need a haircut before I go on Oprah and get beamed to millions of television sets around the world. Regulation. Regulatory. Stanley could not understand the need for the regulation and decided not to follow it. Lift. Once the restrictions are lifted on the operation of drones in the U.S., commercial use will explode. Facet. Listing. Permission. Logistics. Incident. Bystander. Ban. A bird's eye view. I love the bird's eye view you can get from walking on the glass floors of the world's tallest observation decks. The bottom line. Whether or not you agree with Paul's decision, the bottom line is he's your brother, so you should support him. Strike a balance. The teacher had to strike a balance between teaching from the textbook and telling students the real history. Dublin, Phoenix Rising. Ireland is known for hitting peaks and lows. A devastating famine and a desperate fight for independence will forever be part of the national identity. In recent decades, Ireland has yo-yoed economically. Starting in 1995, the country focused on attracting foreign direct investment, ushering in a period of growth that earned Ireland the nickname Celtic Tiger. In 2005, The Economist credited Ireland with the best quality of life worldwide. Just before it all came tumbling down in 2008, Ireland ranked as one of the world's wealthiest countries in the OECD by GDP per capita. At the center of the prosperity, Dublin accounted for nearly half of the country's GDP at 40,000 euros per capita and the second highest wages worldwide. It became home to many multinationals, notably in the high-tech sector, which relocated their legal headquarters to enjoy Ireland's astoundingly low 12.5% corporate tax rate. A property bubble resulted from irresponsible bank loans. When the housing market collapsed, Ireland was the first European Union nation to enter recession, its GDP shrinking by 14%. However, with a joint EU-IMF bailout of 85 billion euros, Ireland got back on its feet and is zoomed by its neighbors in terms of growth, at 6% in 2015. The country's new epithet is Celtic Phoenix. Many problems remain on the ground. The unemployment rate was 8.9% in 2015. In Dublin, lack of affordable housing poses a palpable threat to recovery, dissuading talented workers from moving there.
Devastating. After several devastating typhoons in 2014, Simone was grateful that her nation was spared from harm in 2015. Desperate. Even if you are feeling desperate for the money, don't show that in your negotiations for a raise. Usher in. Nelson Mandela was instrumental in ending apartheid and ushering in a relatively peaceful era for South Africa. Relocate. Many of the retail businesses in my city relocated from downtown to suburban malls. Astoundingly, Krista's dog normally growls at everyone, but astoundingly befriended the new neighbor's kitten. Shrink. When Darren saw his former teacher after a decade, he was amazed at how much she had shrunk in height. Palpable. There is palpable tension in the air as the courtroom awaits the jury's verdict. Dissuade. Brian's father dissuaded him from spending too much on his first car and convinced him to buy a more affordable model. Famine. Yo-yo. Prosperity. Multinational. Recession. Bailout. Epithet. Tumble down. The badly stacked pile of firewood tumbled down with a strong gust of wind. Be back on one's feet. Get back on one's feet. Sharon is back on her feet after a painful divorce 2 years ago, thanks to the support of her family. Zoom by. The top 3 drivers zoomed by the finish line so close together that Ferrari won by a millisecond.
In 2014, Michael Higgins became the first Irish president to make a state visit to London. This thaw in Anglo-Irish relations is a major milestone in view of the two nations' bloody history. April 2016 marks the 100-year anniversary of the Easter Rising armed insurgency in Dublin. However, it wasn't until 1949 that the Republic of Ireland officially threw off British colonial shackles. Fierce fighting for independence had decimated Dublin, and profit-motivated developers demolished more stately buildings in the 1950s. Finally, during the Celtic Tiger boom, attention turned to preserving historic architecture. Temple Bar is the only medieval area left in the city. Its once low rent prices attracted so many artists that the district drew comparisons with the Left Bank in Paris. Gentrification forced out the bohemian free spirits, but Temple Bar retains a cultural reputation and is popular with tourists. One of the newest additions to the cityscape, the International Financial Services Centre, has unfortunately come to symbolize Ireland's controversial tax haven policies. In 2014, 7.3 million visitors to Ireland enabled more than 200,000 tourism jobs and revenue of €5 billion. Agriculture is also vitally important to the national economy, and exports of food and drink total €8.9 billion annually. The best-known Irish thirst quencher is Guinness, sold today in 120 countries. It is the perfect ending to a day in Dublin, an easy way to mix business with pleasure.
Decimate. Lack of licensing decimated the fish population in the lake, but it's been slowly rebounding since fishing there became illegal. Demolish. The city council stepped in just in time to save the old Gothic train station from being demolished. Retain. Strict guidelines about the types of developments allowed have helped the seaside town retain its charm. Symbolize. The Fair Trade Association has come to symbolize a benevolent power protecting the Nicaraguan coffee farmers. Enable. Ignoring inappropriate communication in the office only enables it to grow into a much bigger problem. Vitally. The third wave of 3D movie technology beginning in the 2000s has vitally transformed the film industry. Thaw. Milestone. Insurgency. Fierce. Stately. Gentrification. Cityscape. Tax haven. In view of your upcoming vacation, could you get an early start on the monthly budget report? Throw off the shackles of something. Elizabeth threw off the shackles of her unhappy marriage and set off on a journey of self-discovery. Draw a comparison. It's easy to draw a comparison between Ludwig's interest in the arts and his mother's love of music and painting. Force out. Proponents of a free market economy argue that it naturally forces out weaker competitors.
Apple was one of the first companies to profit from Ireland's nominal corporate tax rate of 12.5%, yet it appears that the company has been actually paying less than 3%. The Irish government has been accused of giving Apple a tax deal in return for thousands of jobs. While awaiting a ruling by the European